Okay, so today we are going to be talking to Tori Newton with regards to performance, identity, and the future self identities that we cover in the VIP Performance Nutrition Program and the Empower Her Women's Group Program. Now, before we dive in, I want to introduce this incredible woman here with me today. Tori Newton is the co-founder of StoneSet, a national leader in resin-bound surfacing solutions, and someone who has built a reputation for innovation, operational excellence, and genuine leadership in a traditionally tough industry. She's a founder who balances commercial growth with integrity, and she's played a huge role in shaping StoneSet's expansion and brand presence across Australia. Beyond her business success, Tori is someone who leads with emotional intelligence, and this is going to be huge during this conversation, and everybody will get to see why. Tori also leads with clarity and a deep commitment to her own evolution. Her journey inside VIP and Empower Her has been powerful, not just in terms of performance, but in how she shows up as a leader, a woman, and a future-focused version of herself. I'm really excited to share her story here today. Tori, thank you for being here. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. I think you're an absolute powerhouse. And your journey inside VIP and Empower Her has been very powerful. I'm excited to capture it for yourself and for everybody because you deserve this as well. So let's start at the beginning, all right? What did life, work, and your energy look like before joining the VIP Performance Nutrition Program?
What do they say about hitting rock bottom? I think the first time I spoke to you, I was in quite a precarious position of feeling like I was both mentally, physically at a really low point. 17 years of running the business, I was definitely at a point of burnout, 2 children, an ill parent, and then I started to have actual physical changes in my body, like heart palpitations and anxiety. And it was a point when I met you where I was thinking, is this just how it's going to be now? Like, I don't know how to improve this. People say take time off work, spend more time on yourself, but I didn't have the tools to do that at all. I don't even think I knew what that looked like. And anything that I was doing felt self-indulgent and that it wasn't getting any results anyway, like punishing myself at the gym, yo-yo dieting, just wasn't getting me any results. So having that real big drop in my health and my mental wellness was quite scary and something I knew I needed to address pretty quickly.
That makes so much sense when we met. Even if you didn't see it at the time, what I could see was the invisible load you were carrying.
Yeah.
Right? The childcare responsibilities, the carer responsibilities, the business responsibilities. And then on top of all that, wondering about your own self-care, which in itself is a cognitive load when you don't have clarity. So that was really, really evident. And I'd love to hear about the moment sort of that things shifted for you.
I think there's been lots of small shifts. And I almost at the time, even just making the decision to join the VIP and work with you was the first point of saying, I need to actually take care of myself. So that was pivotal. That was like a big decision. And it was something that I felt like I do deserve it. And honestly, the back of my mind was, well, this could benefit the business. I'm always still thinking that.
We always are.
I'm always still thinking. That's all. So no, that's too dramatic. But the point that was a big moment for me to commit to doing something on a regular basis that was for me, that didn't necessarily have an outcome I could see. Was really big. And then the smaller changes is saying to myself on a regular basis, I am worth this. I am worth putting healthy food in my body. I am worth spending more money on the salad at dinner because I deserve to eat well and I deserve to take care of myself. And I hadn't really realized that my internal voice wasn't saying that for so long.
Amazing. Yeah.
That's been a
what
big change.
I think so. Like, what were you struggling to change on your own and then realized you needed a different level of support? Can you articulate that moment? What were you struggling to really change on your own and then realized,
Yeah.
hold on a sec, this isn't working. I need a different level now.
I was in a perpetual cycle of dieting that was very much about punishing myself, very much about reward as well. So it was punish and reward, and you did well this week, so now you can do that. And I felt that by rewarding myself with food would make me feel better, but it didn't. And so I was going around in that cycle a lot for years, ever since I can remember going around in that. But also realizing that how I value myself actually my whole life myself was how I looked and the size I was and how much I weighed. But now I'm like, that's great, but actually just valuing myself is actually way more important. So that, yeah, I feel like, I think that some people could get to a target weight and go, oh, why don't I feel any better? And that's because the reality is it isn't just about that. It's about the much, much bigger picture. And I'm not quite there yet, but I'm definitely just seeing that is massive.
Actually, this brings us into identity and behavioral work, which I'll touch on in a sec. Love the segue because it always rolls into that. But what were you hoping would shift the most by stepping into VIP? What was your actual hope when you entered that? Because it's a big leap for somebody who at the time wasn't valuing themselves, needed to justify the investment, not just in the program, but the investment in yourself and the investment in the time that it could potentially take away from you doing, say, those emails or that client call or whatnot. So what were you hoping would actually shift?
I think that when I got off the initial call to you, and I called my business partner, who's also my brother, Andy, and I said, I've just had this chat with Karen. I think that I need to do this so that I can be the better version of myself for StoneSet, for my family, and for myself. And I think that what I needed was, I needed to feel a little bit, and Karen, you've said this to me before, that I felt like I needed someone in my corner, someone who I could talk to, who wasn't my partner or my business partner or my mum, and I could be very vulnerable with, who would give me honest feedback, but also, to be honest, also be a bit like, you're doing good.
And exactly.
I think sometimes being a business owner for so long, with our employees, we make sure that we sit them down and we tell them they're doing a good job and we give them some constructive criticism, but we never get it. And so you sometimes feel a bit like I was floundering, like, I don't know if I'm doing a good thing or a bad thing. And to have a sounding board was massive. That was a big thing for me.
I love that.
Yeah, big thing for the business as well.
Oh, I love that. Yes, because I think we challenge each other as well. I know that I challenge Tori, for anybody who is watching this, but sometimes I also challenge Tori to actually review what is going really well and how amazing she is, which we don't do, right? We struggle to do that for ourselves, but also if that external person who has been there, done that, been through the journey is telling you you're doing really well, even when you're not. That's absolutely key. And I know it is so key for so many women in their own lives, whoever's watching this as well. So you're a key member also in our Empower Her group women's program.
Yeah.
Not just VIP. How is this program different to VIP one-to-one for you?
I think that having the ability to talk to women who are in a similar position, it's a similar position, but also it can be wildly different. And it's so refreshing to hear people having the same thoughts and the same struggles. Not that I want anybody to feel how I felt. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, but it's comforting. It's comforting to go, yeah, I'm frustrated by this too, or I have the same demons or the same worries. So that's been really refreshing and really supportive as well. And the culture of it is very different to we're not talking about always losing weight. It's really not the focus. And I love how refreshing it is. We're not all fighting to be the skinniest or to eat as fewer calories as possible. We're all fighting to feel good. I love that. It feels positive rather than detrimental to everyone.
Oh, I'm so happy you said that. I love that I hear this from you, having had the life and the journey that you've had to get to this point where you're now in a community that empowers you. I mean, obviously it's called the Empower Program, but empowers you in a way that you never thought was actually possible for other women to do in this game of health and wellness. Yeah, because it can be very different in other patterns.
And sharing our wins,
yes,
both professionally, personally, bigging each other up, and not being ashamed to do that, not apologetic. I like it.
Oh, so good. It feels nice. It propels more wins. It propels positivity, and it really hits that higher vibration frequency of love instead of anything else that comes in the way.
Yeah.
One of the biggest parts of your journey has been the identity work. One of the biggest parts of your journey. So my first question around this is, what emotional patterns did you uncover along the way?
Oh, that's tricky. I had a lot of, sometimes I was very much had the imposter syndrome. A lot of self-doubt. If something went wrong, even if it was kind of outside of my control, I would blame myself a lot. And the anxiety side of the emotion would be that I would overly catastrophize things to the point of not sleeping and having panic attacks. And I think that a lot of it was that burden that you mentioned, that everything was feeling very, very heavy on my shoulders. And I couldn't regulate that emotion very well. I was catastrophizing everything, whatever it might be. Something that didn't even, I would hear an ambulance and I would assume that was going to the school because my child had been injured.
That's a lot.
Everything's worst case scenario for a while.
Yeah, that's a lot. So what did you learn about your nervous system and how it responds under pressure?
So now I catch it, which is one of the things we went through. So I think it, but then I reframe my thinking. I take a step out, literally outside, take a step away from a situation, and try and regulate by breathing and just walking as well, which you'll be happy about.
Very.
So yeah, I still think I've got a long way to go on it. And one of the things that for me has been the biggest difference is almost feeling comfortable with acknowledging that it's happening, rather than just letting it happen. And I was ignoring it, I think. ignoring how my body was feeling. I was ignoring the chest pains, the breathing, and now I'm going, oh, it's okay, it's happening, you can deal with it, rather than just pushing it down further.
Yeah. Oh, excellent.
Yeah. I don't think it's necessarily fixed, but I know how to handle it, and I don't feel as concerned by it because I can control it a little bit more, I think.
I agree. What I'm hearing is, you know, one of the things you learned about your nervous system when it is under pressure, that it needs acknowledgement. It needs your nervous system can downregulate in its response to pressure by you simply acknowledging that this is going on for you, the physiological signs, even before the mental stuff hits.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you about one of my favorite topics on earth and in the program, which is boundaries. And what boundaries changed for you?
I've had massive changes in boundaries. The first, probably most notable one, is that we appointed a general manager for StoneSet.
Congrats.
Yeah. And I don't think you could wipe the grin off my face when we were talking to the team. And I was like, so if you've got a problem, you go to Thailand.
So proud of you. So happy for you.
Yeah. I feel like it's going to mean that the staff have clarity, which is really important. But also I have clarity of what my role is moving forward for the business. So I'm setting boundaries for myself, setting myself goals as to what I want to be able to achieve. Things like, setting my email signature is now CEO. I'm owning everything. And that's acknowledging that to myself and then telling everyone else that has been really good. Really, I needed to sit with it for a while. It was like I was the secret CEO.
Yeah.
And I'm like, now I'm owning it. It's everywhere. So yeah, that's been really good. I still think I've got a little bit of work to do from a personal point of view of boundaries. I have had really good responses from friends who, when I say, actually, what I would like to do is go for a walk rather than go out for drinks. That was a tricky transition for me. And it's been fine. No one said, well, I don't want to be your friend anymore.
That's great.
Yeah. And just being more confident in the decisions that I was making. And if someone questioned it, like a typical question might be, well, why do you need to lose weight? Why are you counting your calories? Oh, isn't that a bit too thin? Or whatever, any comment that people would have, I kind of just think I'm sad for them that they see it that way, rather than not being able to see that this is something that's making me really happy. So I don't take it on myself as a problem. I just think that it would be nice if they could see it a different way, and this is how I see it, and I'm happy with that. I
love this.
Yeah.
I do love this.
Yeah.
It's one of those situations we talk about a lot in both VIP and in the Empower Her program, which is around people's opinions of you not being any of your business. Because consequently they will change. People's opinions will change depending on how they're feeling for the day, how secure or insecure they are feeling. And judgment, as we know now, comes from a place of unfulfillment and insecurity in that person too. Although it's hard. I mean, we all judge to some degree. It's really, really difficult. But it can be quite empowering when you hear someone's judgment and you are able to quickly reflect on that and say, well, I feel sad for you because I feel good and I'm feeling healthy mentally and physically.
Yeah.
So I'm really proud of you, because boundaries, I think, have been and always will be really, really difficult for people, women especially, depending on how they've been socialized growing up too.
Yeah.
What's one of the biggest habits that has changed for you over the course of the last few months?
Thinking about food as how it's going to fuel me, rather than just how many calories it is. So looking at protein, but also looking at carbohydrates and fiber, and thinking about it as like fueling my body to be able to think and to be able to work and to be able to train, whilst also trying to reduce my body fat percentage at the same time. I think that all I've ever thought about was a very 5-day, fewer calories as possible, weekend, do whatever I want, and that cycle. Whereas now I just think of it as the rest, like every single day. And there's not spikes, there's not the highs and the lows. It's all very level, and I feel so much better for that.
Yeah.
The habit of looking at food as a reward has changed. Not that I mean, for example, last night I went for a walk, picked up 2 punnets of strawberries, came back, and we all, like after dinner, sat there and ate the strawberries. Like, that's to me the reward. It's not
pretty nice.
Yeah, it's not coming back with a packet of Magnums. It's just And so things like that, it's just those really, that seems like a small change, but it's those sort of daily habits that has made the biggest difference, I think, for me. And that it doesn't feel uncomfortable anymore. It's just starting to feel more normal. Like that, it just feels like the new norm. Yeah.
I think you really nailed it when you said the word level. I think, people are looking for balance. I think the word level is probably more appropriate, because there isn't, in my opinion, anything like balance. We have some tough seasons, we have some rest seasons, we have some mediocre seasons. And that's just the crazy, messy part about life. But when we're feeling quite level in all of those seasons, that's really where that empowerment comes in.
Yeah.
And I like how you use that word. I really love that word. And it sounds as though a lot of your self-leadership evolved through this process too. Even, how you lead yourself, how you treat yourself. Would you agree that there were elements of, or now you see that self-leadership involvement quite acutely?
Definitely. Yeah. Backing myself and my decisions has been a big change. Also, just reframing how it's kind of what I already said, reframing how I talk to myself, but also how I talk to others. So just having a slight, phone's ringing. Taking a breath and talking to people with more confidence in that this is what I think should happen in any scenario. So whether that's with friends, family, partner, or work, it's just being a little bit more confident and backing myself.
Yes.
Where I think before we're always shrinking.
Yes.
And maybe you might sound a bit arrogant, or and I think that I've always been aware of that, and so now I'm just more confidently owning who I am, why I'm making certain decisions, why I'm not drinking alcohol, why all that. I just feel more confident in saying that.
Oh, so good. The word confidence is what we needed to draw out of you.
Yeah.
So you've had a few performance outcomes, right? This is beyond body composition, because we have talked a little bit about body comp, and that is always a huge part with women in terms of their health as well. For a lot of women, they do want to feel stronger or look a certain way or feel a certain way. And that's all really attributed to certain changes in body composition, of course. And in the program, as you and I and everybody who is in the program knows, it's a very strategic process, body composition. We're not winging it. It's all science-based, and it's all a very deliberate strategy. Now, in terms of aside from body comp, right, performance outcomes for you, which you've had a few, let's talk about some performance shifts, the things that people don't always see, right, because they're not always a physical thing, right? So how has I'm a huge believer in renewable energy. I think that one of the things that we need to learn to tap into is energy. You don't need to be an Energizer bunny, but we do need to have some energy to be able to make these high-level decisions in our business, in our families, in our lives. How has your energy changed?
I feel like the energy side of things is to me, it can be quite linked to my hormones, which is another journey I've been going on. Being more forgiving when I do feel low in energy, that it is okay to rest a little bit and not always push through. That's a huge battle for me. Like, even if I'm not feeling well, I'll just keep pushing. Giving myself permission to try and sleep more. No,
it's a good thing. Yeah.
And I think that that's still definitely going to be an ongoing process for me, but just acknowledging that having a restful day is okay. Not always having things planned in the diary on a weekend is okay. Structuring my week. One of the things that we worked on was having on days and off days. So yesterday was very much an on day. I had like 4 back-to-back meetings and presentations, and it's like, okay, that's done, and I'm not going to have an on day again till Friday, so I can catch up with other things, and letting the team know that as well. So it's like I can do our media days on every second Thursday, and if you want it outside of that, you better give me lots of notice. So it's set. I suppose that goes a bit to boundaries as well, but I feel like giving myself a better rhythm and giving myself permission to switch off more, not always open the laptop at night, although I do sometimes.
We've talked about this. That preservation of energy is crucial.
Yeah.
And what you're doing is it is preserving energy, and it's allowing for you to have the energy to do those tasks that are going to have the biggest effect.
Totally.
Well, yeah.
One of the things that I've really started to be aware of is actually, because I can choose when I work, which is obviously most of the time, but I have these windows where I know I'm really productive. So when I get back from the gym, between 6 and however long I've got till the kids wake up, I get so much done. My brain's working really well. I sit there with my coffee, I smash out things. And that to me is like the magic window. So therefore, if that means that I do something else later in the day in work time, that's okay. And it's just shifting that perspective of, and to me, that's been really good. It's not always a punishment. It's not that I shouldn't work at 6 a.m. It's like, actually, I get lots done then. So
100%.
And then, hang the washing out on the line later or whatever it might be. So just giving myself a bit more flexibility has been good.
Or get a massage or have a facial.
Yeah.
Do something non-chory.
Yeah.
I'll just have to keep pushing you on this, challenging you on this one. So, but it does sound as though, and I know this for a fact, is your clarity and your cognitive performance have shifted too. Now, I know that that's also tied to hormones. At the time of this interview, Tori is going through perimenopause, as most women that I work with do, because they are in that stage of life where it becomes, something's changed, I've changed, I don't know where to go now, I don't know what to do now. And with that can be the lack of clarity and the lack of performance cognitively, of which we mitigate through supporting you through perimenopause, but obviously supporting you too through having everything you've just talked about then, which is the right nutrition,
Yeah.
Being able to train in the morning and then smashing out some work for the business when you need to, but also allowing yourself that downtime later in the day when Tori's brain isn't functioning as well, because that's just, it's hormonal, but it's also how your circadian rhythm works. And it's also the fact that you've been up probably since 4:30. And, you know, and so we've really got to pay attention to ourselves. But you're absolutely, having made that other step now into delegation, further delegation is a huge indicator for me that your clarity and your cognitive performance has shifted big time.
And I've got time to really think about things. And I don't think I realized I would get frustrated that, for example, I would get frustrated that I couldn't plan a whole team meeting in the 20 minutes I'd allocated to plan it. I'm like, that's just not realistic. And so I'm giving myself more breathing time to do the important things, and also not allowing myself to get distracted by the smaller $10 tasks. So I'm pushing those away, not feeling guilty because I'm passing it on to someone else. That is the best thing for the business and for myself, that I'm not doing those things. I very much, for such a long time, felt that if I wasn't doing more quotes, bringing in more orders, making more phone calls than everyone else, then how can I be a true leader if I'm not showing them how to do it? And I've just completely reframed that my goal isn't how many quotes I do and how many orders I get. My goal is how much the whole business does. And just that shift has been, it's just a light bulb moment. It's like, I'm not in it. That's been really big.
And you're not in it alone, and you're doing it from a C-level perspective now. Your stress, and I want to ask you a little bit about your stress levels, or your stress tolerance right now, and your emotional regulation. I think that those two are quite key in how women transition. How have they improved? So your tolerance of stress, for one, and then the second one being how you emotionally regulate, the second.
Massive change, huge change. My anger was getting pretty bad. I was not being the parent or the partner that I wanted to be. Very reactive, and just not who I was previously. And I definitely think that a lot of that was stress, and hormones. The main sort of the struggle that I was having was that I felt that I was either angry or sad. And I was flitting between the two. And the anger side of me almost felt a bit like a better place to be, because it almost felt slightly energizing. I could get through things. The sad part wasn't good. Like, you're flat and you're not really achieving anything. So I sat in that anger, high sort of stressed place for a long time. And now I haven't actually asked my partner, I should, but there's been a shift with us that I'm definitely am able to, like, the same sort of thing happened, like the same stresses happen at work, the same things happen when the dishwasher isn't unloaded or whatever it might be, but it's not as triggering for me. And I react differently to it. So that's been a massive shift, and there's still fluctuations. It's definitely changed a lot.
That's a huge shift. And I think, given that the program is nutrition and psychology based, you can see how closely that's linked, right? Once you feel level and happy and consistent with your nutrition, it's much easier to work on the mindset shifts as well. And of course, we do a bit of work repeatedly in the program around this, because we never perfect it, and we can never perfect anything. It's all about that growth and consistency and follow through. How do you think consistency and follow through have evolved for you?
That's probably the key thing, is the consistency. and accepting that there isn't a quick fix. And I think once you feel comfortable that it isn't going to be a 6-week challenge, or it isn't going to be short, it is, and it seems a bit of a cliche. It's like, no, it's changing everything for life, and that's the reality. But at first that feels uncomfortable. You feel like you're going to miss things or not be the same person that you were, and that could be a negative thing. So it was a huge shift in me to almost let go of the habits of a lifetime and realize that what I needed was consistency. And sometimes that consistency can seem boring, like eating the same things, or but it makes it easier. There's less there's less choices to make. There's like, it's just easier. And although sometimes I'll enjoy, like, I'll probably find a new recipe that I like, and then I'll eat that straight for 4 weeks, and then I'll switch it out. And it's sort of, it's those sort of things, like not having that decision fatigue every day of, am I doing the right thing? It's just the new norm, and that is really good. Yeah,
and you're getting massive results.
Yeah, I was spending so much time thinking about what I was eating, and I didn't even really acknowledge it. And now I think about it as much, and it's nice.
Isn't it beautiful? It's one of those things where what you kind of can really have so much cognitive freedom just from that one action, which is around nutrition and food. Once you develop some consistency and cadence, you can play with it too when you feel like it, or you can leave it and have it as set and forget for a little while too, which is a nice balance to have. There's something that you've mentioned a couple of times, which I want to touch on, is that person who I used to be, person I used to be. I'm, as you know, with me, I am so big on transitions, and I really truly think that particularly high achieving women have the potential to transition and transform multiple times in this lifetime, in their lifetime. And that notion of, oh, I'm not who I used to be, I actually get excited by that, whereas people and women tend to get quite afraid of it, because it's, yes, it's a fear of the unknown, but also it's a fear that comes with the whole letting go and the guilt and the shame of not being who I used to be. But that person that you used to be was also holding you back. Yeah. So becoming the woman that you want to be. Let's talk about where you're heading.
Yeah.
Okay. Who do you feel you're becoming through this process? Who do you feel you're becoming in this process?
I feel like I am becoming the more mature woman that I thought I would be at this age. And I'll try and explain that a bit more. I think that when you're in your 20s and your 30s, you think you'll have it figured out at every stage. You're like, oh, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. I'll have my shit together basically by then. I think that I sort of almost started to panic at 40, thinking, what? I don't feel like I'm figuring anything out. Like, it just feels more confusing. And at what point am I meant to start figuring this out? At what point am I going to actually be the CEO of a large business that's growing and really own it? And when I look towards thinking about turning 45, turning 50, I think that I'm excited to really own that and be really confident in that position, and to be seen in the industry as someone who has changed things and is recognized, and excited to look forward to how that looks like, but then also think that I'll be really proud of what I can look back on as well.
Amazing.
So yeah, I feel excited about it. Like, I think that with the maturity and the good things that come with aging is that confidence and respect that you can demand.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely, without having to jump up and down for it, without having to feel like, why am I not being heard? So this is a huge leap for you. So what feels more possible now than that didn't feel possible before?
what I want to do is to be able to put myself out there from a point of view of in our industry. I want to build my knowledge so that I can be a spokesperson, not just for StoneSet, but for the bigger picture when it comes to sort of environmental urban design. Like I want to get more involved in that. I think that when you've been doing the same thing for so long, there's a thought. Some people would say to you, "Oh, what would you do if you sold StoneSet?" And there's sometimes this thought process of, "Oh, do I need to change? Do I need to not do this job anymore?" And I think what I've realized is that it's not StoneSet my business, it's my role within that and challenging myself within that. So what it could have looked like I walked away from StoneSet or I sold it and I started working somewhere else. But instead, what it looks like for me is changing my role within that and challenging myself within that.
Amazing.
And what I've done for so long is sat in the comfort zone, and now I'm not. And that was the refresh and the re-energizing that I needed. Was I didn't realize that it felt easy sat in the comfort zone, but it was also a bit soul destroying. It's like I'm just doing the same thing.
Yes.
So putting myself out there and yeah, that's exciting. I think that was what I needed.
Wow, that sounds so exciting. I'm getting excited for you, as I always do. There's only growth in discomfort.
Yeah.
And as much as we don't want to admit that and even verbalize it, it's the truth, right? It's every time you've become a little bit uncomfortable, there's been massive growth.
Yeah.
Just know that you'll probably do something scary every single day. Something scary every single day, and you just have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
And move forward.
Yeah.
What are you the most proud of? What are you the most proud of? There's a lot to be proud of.
I'm proud that I've stuck at it. So, and by stuck at it, that doesn't mean there wasn't some big wobbles.
There's been wobbles, absolutely. You're tenacious though. You're tenacious, and I love that about you. It goes without saying, I think even when I first met you, and I adore your vulnerability, and there is this side to you too that is incredibly resilient and tenacious. And I think that you absolutely should be proud of that part of you, that part that sticks at it, even when it feels so damn hard, that you don't want to continue anymore, whether it be working on your health, working on your mindset, working on the business, dealing with relationships. What would you tell someone who's considering joining VIP or the Empower Her program?
I think that the first step would be to remind themselves that they're worth it, and to tell them that investing the time in themselves isn't something that they should feel guilty about. It's not an acknowledgement of any kind of failing that you're looking to improve. It doesn't mean that you've been doing it really wrong. It just means that you can see that there's an improvement that could be made. And so see it as an investment, not any kind of failing, and know that you're worth it. I think that's the key thing. That's
yeah. Oh, that's so special. Okay. Finally, because we're going to wrap it up soon, I'd love to hear why you chose to share your story. So a couple of questions I have about this, which I'm always really interested in why people choose to share as much as they do in their story. Why does this feel important to you?
I think that there's not enough open conversation about the stress and the mental load that not just women, but I think especially women have. and the pressure that we put on ourselves. I don't think it's a conversation that's being had enough. And I think that if you're just like, I want to talk to everyone about it, but not everyone's receptive. So if someone is watching this, then they're already way further ahead than most because they're showing interest in it. So I needed someone to tell who was listening. I just think that if someone just opens the door to it, then it's just to be able to sneak in and go and really give them a better insight is so valuable, because I had no idea that this sort of thing would even exist. I had no idea until I met you. I didn't know that this was an option. So the more people that can know that this kind of support that encompasses everything is amazing.
Oh, you're so beautiful. That really gives me goosebumps, to be honest, because I remember you back then and I see you now. And how do you hope your journey can support other high performers or other women or other men that are coming through or going through this journey?
I think that seeing someone out, like, I'm definitely not at the end of my journey. So I mean, if we could show our first video call, they'd be able to see the difference.
I would never do that because it's confidential, but I love that you're bringing that up as a comparison.
I think that it's hard because hopefully people can get across that it can be life-changing in so many more ways than just what the scales say. I just think that might be where we start, and that can be the motivation, but you realize that isn't the whole picture, and that would be the big thing, I think.
You're so right. One of my biggest purposes in life is actually to break wellbeing poverty for people, particularly women. And wellbeing can relate to your health, your mindset, your financial position, your role, your career, whatever it is. You know, in many ways, we don't even see the poverty in those areas, right? So, of course, so many people come up to me going, I want to talk about my health. I think I need this nutrient, that nutrient. I need to lose weight. And I do look back and at that person and think, I think there's a lot more that you might need more support with to get you to that next level. All right, we know that the transformation and your transformation has been non-linear. And it usually is. Transformation is non-linear. I wish it was that easy. We all do it, be like, we're done, easy. What do you want people to understand about it being a non-linear transformation?
Consistency, again. Understanding the fact that our bodies don't always react in the way that we want, in the time frame that they want, and that it can go up and down, and not to, like, whenever I feel like I'm sort of not achieving, I hear your voice saying, trust the process. Trust the process. Listen to how I feel. And for me, it's been a massive shift of the biggest shift, I think, for me is acknowledging that how I feel in my body and my mind is actually the most important part. Now, that it's not like I'm now suddenly immune to the scales not having an impact on me, but it's a much lower impact on my mental health when I step on the scales. And that's not just because I'm a bit lighter, it's because I know that that's not what's making me feel different.
Liberation right there.
Yeah. It's also taking the time to understand the fluctuation of my body through its cycle, the impact of how I eat, not just in the macros, but even things like salt, water, how that all has an impact that I just never considered before. So all those things have made a massive difference, like just being more aware. And I don't think I'm explaining myself well, but one of the things that I don't want to make it sound like is that I obsess over every details. I don't, but I look at the whole picture rather than one measurement. So it's not like I don't get too specific on all the details, but I look at the broader picture. I look at the results over 3 months, not 5 days. It's just a shift in looking at the big picture.
I think you've articulated it beautifully. I definitely think that you've articulated the bigger picture, and something that I have so much joy in hearing, because that's how it is. The day we're still human, and we still need to get on with our lives, and not obsess over every little detail. And the beauty's in the imperfection, which in itself can sound like a cliche, but it is. The beauty's in the imperfection. And you have, Tori, thank you. You have absolutely summed this up. Your story has been so powerful. And I know it will help so many people to feel seen, because people don't feel seen in this process, or supported or understood. So I think it will really help with all of this. And I'm so forever grateful for you. Thank you.
No, I'm grateful for you, Karen.
Thank you so much.
No
Okay.